You are the loneliest person that I've ever known. We are joined at the surface, but nowhere else. Sooner or later, we'll all have to wake. And I remember everything underneath. Is there a golden soul? Take care of the ones that you love. Take care of the ones that you love. Baby, I'm leaving here. You need to be with somebody else. Stop bleeding here. And we suture our wounds and feelings. Something like that. Simon Neil from Biffy Clyro. Song's a little bit like that, doesn't he? Great songwriter. Now, I'm going to do an album review of Biffy Clyro Opposites single edition album. Pretty sure this is the second from last one they did. Now, I'm going to stop using this Scottish accent. I'm probably butchering it a little bit, but start using my own accent in about 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So guys, welcome to the Conor Canney podcast. And once again, I'll be reviewing an album, the fourth album in this series of reviews on this podcast. And just in case my thick Scottish accent was too incomprehensible and incoherent, I will now say again, no offence to anyone who's Scottish listening around the world, love you guys. You have a great fucking accent, especially Glasgow, which is near where these guys are from. I believe about 45 minutes, an hour away from it. Anyway, that's a fun fact for you. Fuck it. ADHD. Off on tangents. Biffy Clyro, Opposites. Okay, this is the single edition, because they did release a double disc version, but I'm just going to review the single edition. This is a review I wrote 2 years ago, so let me just here we go. Biffy Clyro Opposites, single edition. In my opinion, this album achieves something that many of the same ilk failed to do. It captures the raw, grassroots energy of the 3 members of the band, whilst using multiple layers of strings, brass, percussion, guitars and vocals. The opening track is the perfect example of this, starting with an almost otherworldly sound in the form of a sustained single note, created by synthesizer. Different People begins with a note which subtly grows stronger, louder and more colourful in tone, keeping the listener in an excited, anticipatory state. A state which is only increased by the first huge, sustained guitar chord, and lead singer Simon Neil's drawn-out cries of, "Baby, when you hold me," his broad Scottish accent prevalent throughout every syllable. This tells old Biffy Clyro fans, or old Biffy fans as I actually put in there, this tells old Biffy fans and new listeners alike that this album can promise at least one thing: it's going to be epic. This record is rife with symbolism, lyrical ambiguity and deep and dark subject matters, not to mention Morrissey-like heartache. How many people that fucking love Biffy Clyro and hate Morrissey hate me right now? Mention Morrissey-like heartache and drawn out discussions of the downside of relationships. Track 2, Black Chandelier, is no exception, with Neil almost crying a pre-chorus of, "You left my heart like an abandoned car, old and worn out, no use at all, but I used to be free." That raw punk energy I referred to earlier is showcased through the opening riff of Sounds Like Balloons. The hard-hitting modern magic formulas, simplistic bass and drums, and the quick succession with which the line, "You can give it all that it needs" is repeated, each line ending in screeches emanating both from Neil's mouth and his guitar, giving the song an almost Nirvana-esque quality. Title track and single opposites, or is it opposite? I can't remember. It is a far call from the heavier sounds of this raucous rock band, and has all the makings of an indie pop hit, and a ballad actually, showing the sonic diversity of the tunes on this LP. Spanish radio is another prime example of the use of imagery, metaphors, and obscure lyricism in the words, "I'm gonna walk to the water's edge, refuse to be cleansed, but struggle in. Your crown don't fit, so vacate the throne." In English, that was, I'm joking, the use of horns. I love you Scottish people, don't hate me. I'm actually part Scottish myself, actually. Very, very tiny part. Anyway, back to the motherfucking review. The use of horns strumming out memorable rhythmic riffs gives this tune a touch of class, which reflect its lyrical content. The epically big rock pop choruses, which the intro of Different People sets us up for, makes me feel that I'm in a stadium singing along with thousands of other people, with the anthemic biblical creating a wall of sound by way of multiple guitars, feedback, vocals and strings, and probably a bunch of other crazy shit that we can't hear. One of the closing tracks on the album, Stinging Bell, is a song that, in my opinion, encapsulates everything that this album is about. It's got obscure lyrics about love. You say love, I say killing time. It's actually not that obscure now, I think of it now. But anyway, that's another story for another day. I will persevere on. There will be no more interruptions. Touch wood. It's got a heavy rhythmic rock riff, which is the bread to the main filling of this Biffy sandwich. Opening and closing the tune, using a fat tone with down-tuned guitars. It's got a catchy pop chorus with loads of extra production and ends in strange augmented chords. Grammar. Oh, just interrupted myself again, didn't I? Oh well. As a final touch, bagpipes are used. A nice touch, which is a celebratory nod towards the band's Celtic culture and heritage. This album is essentially a catalogue of melancholy love songs which musically delves into a wide variety of genres and uses a great deal of extra production. A production which, as I stated at the beginning of this review, far from taking away from the band's raw energy, only complements and accentuates the rough and ready three-piece that old school fans have come to know and love. All in all, a cracking album, which is a good introduction to new fans of the band and won't disappoint the die-hard loyalists who have been there from the beginning.